So, as expected, there has been trouble in central London. Um, there was supposed to be a curfew in place at 5. It's now 5 to 7. I was looking at BBC News 24, and at the 6 o'clock bulletin, they had um, helicopters flying overhead, and there was still some remnants of trouble. But what the situation is right now, I don't know. Um, so today, these counter protesters arrived ostensibly to protect the statues. And feelings are running very, very strong over this, particularly the Churchill statue. Um, my position is that was going to be inevitable. There was at some point going to be a backlash against the way these statue protests are going. I mean, it's really, just sweeping across the board now to every historic figure. Even Robert the Bruce has been targeted. Robert the Bruce, I don't see what he would have to do with. I don't even. I can't even fathom their thinking with that. And many other figures. But anyway, there has, like I say, been trouble in central London. Priti Patel's condemned it. And, this is one of those situations where my sympathies really lie with the police because they're really getting it from both sides. I mean, you had segments of the Black Lives Matter crowd were causing trouble a few days ago. They were attacking police officers. They were, throwing missiles at them. Now it's exactly the same with these right wing reactionaries. I was watching the BBC report, and people say, "Oh, the BBC's biased. It's blah 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 blah." Well, I could see on this. I have to say they were being careful with what they were saying. They said there were right wing activists. They didn't say far right. They said right wing activists. The reporter on the ground said that he tried to interview him, but he'd received several threats. Here's my take. If you are, I was going to say covering your face, but these days we're all covering our faces. If you are throwing missiles at police, if you are, trying to get into fights with the police, if you are shouting ADL, you're a hooligan. You're nothing but a dickhead, and you're not behaving like a patriot who's just responsibly defending the statues. There was one group of bikers earlier. I saw this post. I said we're just a group of ordinary Brits from Cardiff, Swansea, Bristol, Newport, etc., etc., come to defend the statue. One of them actually had a Wehrmacht hat on. Now, just one out of a big group. They said they came from all races. The BBC report was careful to say that the few individuals they had spoken to insisted they weren't racist. They kept referring to them as right wing activists. They didn't say far right. I feel that sometimes, um, these nationalist types can be just as politically correct or just as defensive as any other faction. I mean, if you're behaving like a lout, I'm going to call you that, and I'm going to see you as that. So they weren't just protecting the statues; they were clearly there because they wanted to fight. They wanted to fight the police. Apparently, there was no direct exchanges between Black Lives Matter and these groups. There were apparently remnants of the ADL, Britain First. They are far right groups. I'm calling them that because that's what they are. And a group that wasn't particularly political called the United Labs Alliance. And coming up to this 7, I'll show you. I'll turn the screen round. No copyright infringement intended. But I'm not off the school of thought that oh well it's justified because of what Black Lives Matter done. No, it's just as bad. Here we go. Here's the headlines.
This is BBC News. I'm Sean Lay. The headlines at 7. Groups, including right-wing activists, have clashed with police in central London as they gathered near Parliament and the statue of Sir Winston Churchill. Trafalgar Square, protesters threw objects at police as they tried to contain the protest. Another 181 people in the UK died in the last 24 hours.
Okay, I don't know what sound was like there, but you could see that they were clearly throwing things at the police, throwing missiles, throwing some sort of firecracker or something, which is dangerous. I mean, part of me thinks why did they allow any protests to go ahead today? Why didn't they just have the curfew all day? Um, the right to peaceful protest is one thing, but we are in the middle of a pandemic, and it's a pity, because a lot of people do have strong sentiments about the statue vandalisms that are going on. But these clowns think that they can act like hooligans and then play the victim. No doubt they'll come out and say, oh, the police provoked this. I really sympathize with the police right now because honestly, they're getting it from both sides. And maybe there's some criticism to be made. Maybe they should have acted more to arrest vandals last week in other cities, in Bristol and elsewhere. But then there's going to be perceptions of double standards. But if you're acting like a lout, you no excuses. You just don't. I don't care what your background is. And these guys are now going to play the victim and claim they're just ordinary bits who are, standing up for the statues. How does that translate into then throwing missiles at the police? I'll show you a bit more of the report. I don't know what the volume will be like.
Offences which include violent disorder. 6 police officers suffered minor injuries. This report from our correspondent Tom Simons, who was at the scene for much of the day, contains some violent scenes from the beginning. There had been some peaceful protesting before this happened. Throughout the day, the police have been repeatedly attacked. These lines of officers were there to keep the protesters apart from an anti-racism demonstration nearby. This team were pushed back from outside Parliament. The crowd broke through. They attacked photographers. We tried to ask why they'd come. Report the truth. I'm asking to speak to you so I can report what your truth is. It's quite hard for us to ask these protesters what their demands are. We have faced threats today. They're from a variety of different groups, from right-wing activist organisations and organised football fans as well. The one thing they say they aren't is racist. The clearest motivation today, protecting, in the protesters' words, the statues in this area. Winston Churchill, Nelson Mandela and the others had already been covered up. One protester who would talk said he felt Churchill, British history, under attack. Come on. I mean, he had some racist views, but at the end of the day, he led us through our darkest hour. And, there is everyone here has no problem with BNN. Some anti-racism protesters did gather today in central London, but Black Lives Matter brought forward its latest attempt to yesterday to avoid trouble.
The report goes on to say there that there was a demonstration in Newcastle upon Tyne. This woman from Black Lives Matter, I'll just show you.
So we had to keep this quite low key. The Home Secretary, Priti
I'm
Patel,
sorry, that's probably not great audio, but yeah, that Black Lives Matter woman was saying that they'd received threats. Here's the thing, if Black Lives Matter must have known that there was going to be a response to some of the sort of rhetoric that they were putting out. They can't honestly have felt that. I hear Home Secretary, I'll shut up now.
And I have said every single day out of the police around the country and in London that these protests, these gatherings are illegal and we have been discouraging them. Secondly, we have seen a small minority behave in extreme.
Yeah, I actually want to watch this, so I'll round up this video. But it's
individuals that have basically put in
you act like a hooligan, you're a hooligan.
and the safety of the